All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for podcast number 48. All right, so first things first,
yes,
we have to give a shout out to one of our VIP patrons, Lyriot. Lyriot Cakes on Patreon, but just known as Lyriot on our Discord. We are grateful to have your support and company in our Discord.
That's right.
You're wonderful. Thank you so much. We can't thank you enough.
Yes.
The topic of today's podcast is kind of a clickbaity one.
Why this anime is anime of the year.
Already.
Yeah.
Like this is a moment in, I would say, the
history of the universe where
No, I was just meaning a moment in this year where it feels like people haven't been talking more recently about any like crazy good shows that like we need to see. It's more like, whoa, you guys have watched some really good shows, but like this show came out like really early in 2018
and already won.
Like, I think it already won Anime of the Year.
If somehow it doesn't, then
we are in for a treat to whatever's coming up next.
Yeah, whatever like ends up beating it will be a thing to behold indeed.
Right, like an instant classic, like something that will.
I would almost say this is an instant classic.
Yeah, this is probably an instant classic. So if you don't know what anime we're talking about already, it's a place further than the universe, guys.
Sora Yori.
Yes.
We are going to be keeping it more or less spoiler free for all y'all in case you haven't seen it, because you really need to watch it because it's super, super good.
And the numbers prove that a lot of you have not seen it.
Right.
Because
exactly.
very few of you watched the reactions that we did to it. Probably because you're like, oh, that's a cute girl doing cute things. It's a little slice of life show.
Give me
no
more
big deal.
JoJo's.
Yeah. And guys, like, we get it.
Yeah.
But this show, oh my god. Like, okay, first off, this is a Madhouse Studio original. Like,
what was the last one we got that was one of those? Wasn't it something called like Madoka Magica? I think
so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah, and I mean that show was all right.
Yeah.
So this one,
Oh boy. This show, I think, will go into the annals as one of the first 10 shows you introduce your friend to get them into anime.
Yeah,
like. Of all time,
because it's really good, and the thing is, it has such a sense of normalcy to it that it can basically dispel a lot of the sort of negative connotations that the word anime has to a lot of people, because it's just so wholesome, so heartwarming, so
wonderfully
and
good.
So good.
Like the presentation of this show, like this is almost a review, but like the presentation of this show is god tier.
Notch.
Like Madhouse has killed it with just stunning visuals and beautiful character animation, but also music, just and blending seamlessly 3D and 2D animation together.
Yeah.
Like, you will be surprised. Like, it's really, really good.
When I think about the episodes where, like, if I were to introduce somebody to this show and be like, okay, this episode in particular, oh, it's my favorite, it's so good, it has such amazing high-impact moments, that would basically be episode 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Like, that's
by the way, there's only 13 episodes in this show. Like, we finished it recently. It was very, very good. A part of my soul was enriched. This show spoke deeply to something beyond just the simple nature of the story, because this is about some girls going to Antarctica. We're not going to really go deeper into the plot than that.
It's pretty straightforward, and the fact that it is so straightforward is
to its advantage.
Amazing. It
credit.
Is so to its advantage, because when I think about, like, okay, stories that will, like, move me and, you know, and all that stuff, one of the things that sometimes comes to mind is it something that a lot of people could get into? Because a lot of times when they do the super emotional stuff, the question is, can you keep it entertaining for people to get to those emotional moments?
Right.
And one, yes, they absolutely do. This is one of the most fun, just zany shows out there. It's wonderful. And two, the high-impact emotional moments,
they hit hard.
They hit hard. And they hit soon.
Yes,
they come out swinging.
One of the things that surprised me was how fast. I think it was specifically episode 3. There was a really big moment of emotional impact that like shook me to my core, and yet like the first 2 episodes
were fantastic
to introduce us to kind of what the foundation of the story will be built upon. But I would say actually the thing that makes this show very fun, and a lot of ways I would say it's actually the only thing that would be difficult for a non-anime viewer to get into, is that the dialogue is so snappy and fast that if you're not used to reading subtitles, you're going to be like, oh my god, there's so much happening.
Yeah. And because, I almost like...
Because it's good. Like, Jacob and I love to write or like kind of think about writing characters and stuff.
The dialogue is wonderful. There's this thing,
I could never write dialogue this good. It's so good.
One of the biggest things you can do with dialogue is you basically use it as a way to not only introduce characters, but also to basically make it so that the audience can know who's speaking, even if they don't hear the voice, they just know what's being said, right?
Just based on the content of the words,
exactly.
You know, this flavor of words is being spoken by this person.
And they do that in this show, and they do it wonderfully and in a realistic fashion. A lot of the times in other shows, especially in anime, because they have to have everything be basically vibrant and have the characters stand out, especially if they all have the same school uniform, they'll give characters kind of shticks, which can work, right? And that can be totally valid and everything. But a lot of times they'll stop there. This show, it doesn't do, like, it kind of does the shticks thing, but it does it in a way that's realistic and believable and endearing to the characters, and all in this wonderful package. It's insane.
And the characters aren't static.
Yeah, the characters absolutely are not static. Every single episode, they are intentionally focusing on not just a different character, but a different relationship between characters in the show.
Yeah.
It is wonderful.
Yeah, you could go and analyze the show's plot structure and break it down relatively easily, and you'd come to the conclusion that the show highlights at least one character every episode as being given a moment of depth and growth. But they also highlight minimum one character interaction with another character. It's usually the highlight character's interactions with someone else.
Exactly.
Specifically, in addition to all the other stuff. And those 2 characters actually grow every single time they do this.
And here's the thing.
Every single time.
Here's the
It's
thing.
incredible.
They don't just do that. Because I could see a story where they're like, okay, we're going to focus on one character and their interactions with another character for an episode, right? And that can be great. But what I would expect to happen is that then we would sort of not really see much of the other characters that episode.
Right.
They would just sort of, they just sort of not be present, right? It's like in the JoJo's episodes when it's like, oh, this person's going off on their own. I wonder what's going to happen.
Where are you going?
Yeah, exactly.
Wonder who's going to fight the party.
Right, yeah. But with this, they don't do that, and that's one of the areas where the dialogue really shines and like flexes its prodigious muscles.
Yes.
Because I don't even want to think about how the poor souls that get the job of trying to translate this are going to turn this into a dub, because
it's going to be so hard.
The lip flaps will be off, like it'll be ridiculous.
Yeah,
but it's so snappy.
Really
it
fast.
Is so snappy. They are playing off of each other's words like this is Joss Whedon level dialogue. In my mind.
It's the kind of thing where you have that. At least me, as 27 years old, I have this fear in the back of my mind of accidentally like encountering a horde of 14-year-old girls, and they're just motor mouth talking. I'm just like, oh.
And in a lot of ways, like it's too witty and it pops too much to be realistic, right? Probably
for the most part, but actually,
they blend it very well.
Yeah, I would say actually a specific character, probably the most main character of them all, her name's Kamari, has probably some of the most realistic dialogue of them all. Because you hear it sometimes where people are like, all right, we have to have kid characters in this story. How do we write kid character dialogue? Right. And it's like, Oh, they do it. Yeah. They do it so well here. And for a show that's kind of cute girls doing cute things with an emotional core, the show is hilariously funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
there is always
hilariously funny. As a guy who generally watches more action shonen seinen kind of blends of shows.
The odds that I would have been able to like get Caleb to say, "Hey Caleb, there's this cute girls doing cute things show."
Yeah,
like
before the channel, you know, no way.
Yeah,
this is the kind of show though that every single person that loves anime or just stories in general needs to see.
Like this is the kind of anime where it's like you could just like be like, "Hey, mom, dad." You know, those
will get them into anime.
Like, you know, those weird, like, you know, Asian shows that I watch? Well, I've got one that I think, you know, I just for me, watch it with me, you know, and just we'll see how it goes, right? You might very well convert them.
I almost guarantee you, like, it will probably work. It's very good. Yeah. It has 13 episodes.
Yep.
It begins and ends properly.
Mm-hmm.
There are very specific moments near the end where you realize that they're giving you exactly everything that they built up towards from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And even as you're coming towards the end, you're like, oh, but we're missing out on that one thing.
Right.
And then they're like, psych, we got you. And they know exactly what their viewers were wanting at the end.
There is a part that is the absolute last bit of the show.
Yep.
And me and Caleb were going through the show and we're like, wow, this was so amazing. This was great. And I actually said, this is fantastic. That would be really cool though if they did something like this
by the end.
And not only did they do the thing that I mentioned, they took that and they did it even better.
Yep.
They did something I didn't even imagine they would do.
Yep.
They basically knew so well what the audience would be wanting at the end of this show, at the resolution after the climax, right?
Yep.
And there's like, watch this. Yeah, we know what's up.
The show also is surprisingly deep for a show about kind of like high schooler girls like going to you know Antarctica and stuff. There's a lot of good like wisdom and like lessons. I'm not trying to say that this is like a hey, we learned something this episode. No, this is the kind of show that will like connect with something deeper within you if you're open to it, because it's surprisingly relevant beyond just the fictional world that the girls live in.
This is
really
it's good. Also quite realistic, even with how it goes about the things that are kind of unrealistic.
Right.
And along the lines of what Caleb was saying, I would say this is a true coming-of-age story.
Oh,
now, it has a lot of other aspects to it as well.
That's
but
true.
A lot of times, the reason I feel that the sort of, you know, pubescent high school time, right, is so focused on in stories, especially in anime, is because of that whole coming-of-age aspect, right?
Totally.
It's very identifiable, it's very relatable, but a lot of times it's just sort of thrown in there and not really used.
True.
You can tell that these girls go on a journey, both literal and metaphorical, over the course of this story.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yep.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. So guys, this is our anime of the year, and I would bet money that whenever any like you know the Crunchyroll Anime Awards or whatever, this one's already won.
Yeah.
This one's already won.
Omae wa mushinderu. Like, it's
like
not to overhype it, you know, but like
like I'm sure that there are going to be some contenders out there that people will go, yes, that's good, but did you see this? And we're like, yeah, totally. But let me give you again 3 words: Madhouse Studio Original.
Yeah, like
I guess it's 4 words. Then you have to say anime afterwards.
Or Madhouse Original Anime.
Madhouse Original Anime.
Right. But like you've heard us no doubt talk about how powerful the short, compact story can be. You know, that isn't planning to do any sequels or anything like that. It's just it has the story that it wants to tell and it tells it.
Yep.
This is an example of why we harp on that so much.
Yep.
Not that long form stories can't be amazing, but when you have something like this and you're like everything is meticulously planned out, it's insanely good. Like when me and Caleb were talking about this, we're like, okay, to be real though, like Place Further than the Universe, what are its flaws?
I couldn't find any.
Like it's one of those things where I had to compare it to Avatar: The Last Airbender in that anything that I could find would be nitpicks, and because it's shorter, because it's a fifth of the length of Avatar.
It has even less things to
It has
way
less things, and the things that are there are way smaller.
Way smaller.
You don't have to worry about the Great Divide episodes, you know, or anything like that, right?
No.
They're just not there. It is so good.
And guys, like, this is something I feel like we might need to pay attention to as the anime community. When a studio takes a risk and does an anime original, because they're not going off of a pre-built-in audience, they have full control in creative control as to how the story begins, ends, and all that. They're not having to drag it on with the manga or light novels or whatever.
That reason is exactly why I wish there were more anime original endings, actually, because we could get stuff like this.
But even more so, when you see a good studio like Madhouse make an anime like this, you kind of owe it to them just a little bit.
With
just a little bit.
Like they have, it's like...
To basically, like, give it a shot.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of show where if you gave it a shot, you'd finish it.
Yeah,
you'd finish it.
Because I understand how skeptical some people can be about the idea of a cute girls doing cute things type show, right?
Totally.
Because it's like, okay, come on, where's the
conflict?
story?
Where's the
conflict?
plot?
Where's the plot? It has all of those in spades.
Yep.
And also, one other thing that's rather nice, and in an anime with an all-female cast, one of the things that would diminish my enjoyment of it just a bit would be if it had an abundance of fan service. There was, like, next to none in this show. Like you could have some...
This is a classy show.
Yeah, this is a classy show.
And it's very goofy, ridiculous, and hilarious, but it is a very classy show.
Yeah.
So, guys, watch A Place Further Than the Universe if you haven't. Once you've done that, go check out our reactions to it.
And tell all your friends and family and everybody about this amazing
Maybe
show.
we'll actually make it Anime of the Year because we'll start spreading the word out.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we're not the first, though.
Yeah, no.
All right, guys, we're going to shift over into the Q&A section of our podcast.
If you have any questions that you want us to answer in the next podcast, leave them in the comments of this one.
Yep. The first question is not a question. It's from David Asmi. It's an FMK.
Dio, Crollo,
and Boikawa. Okay, well,
to keep this YouTube friendly so we don't get ad blocked.
They can't demonetize your videos. You don't monetize them in the first place. So we would, at least I would kill Dio. I would
bed
wed dead. There we go. I would dead Dio dead. I would bed Crollo, and I would wed Boikawa when he is legal or of age, or I think he is.
I think he's 18 already.
I think he's 17.
I don't know.
I think he's a senior. So yeah, if anything, I would propose to him. Yeah,
I would do very similar. I would dead Dio because.
Screw Dio.
Yeah, plus he's undead already. So, you know.
He needs to die.
And then I would bed Boikawa when the time was right. And then wed Crollo. Because one, being around an awesome Nen user, that could be pretty helpful.
Yeah, I don't trust Crollo to keep me alive if I stick around long enough. So, yeah. The follow-up is, as a more serious question, do you have any unpopular opinions on anime? If not, how about other forms of media?
Well, you have a few.
I have a few.
He's a salty anime fan.
I am a salty anime fan with a specific set of really good shows, I would say. Because I would say the shows are objectively good. I'm just pissed at them.
Wait.
I think that NGE is extremely... ambitious but overrated. I think that Cowboy Bebop is not a good story show. Like, it has a lot of problems with its story structure. It has some good episodic kind of stuff going on in there, but there's a reason why most people say to start with episode 5 if you want to get into Cowboy Bebop. So... just saying. My really unpopular opinion, though, is I hate ReZero. Like,
yeah, I was waiting for that one.
I do not like ReZero. Like, the thing about it is that my problem with the show is not actually that it's bad. I think that some of the beginning episodes, despite that weird transition where all of a sudden the show changes a bit, the beginning is really good. I don't think it transitions well between kind of segments of story, and you'll see why I say that in a second. But specifically, the best part, I think, was in that middle bit when they're in the castle, the mansion, trying to figure things out. But everything from, like...
Episode 18.
After
episode 18,
is garbage. Is, like, hot garbage. And, like, actually ruins the experience of the show's build-up from what was previously done. I think it was either a bad adaptation or they were given basically a difficult show to adapt, or a difficult material to adapt, and that makes the original material probably not that good in my mind. It's a cool concept that is executed well in some instances and horribly in others. And that's... I know this show is good, but I hate it.
Gotcha.
I hate it.
My unpopular opinion is, well, I kind of mentioned it earlier this video, I want more anime original endings. Because one, a lot of times with original material, it will start with a great note, but then the creator will either lose sight of what made it good in the first place.
Definitely.
And they'll go for more of the sure thing because they just want to keep this cash cow going, right? Or
money.
It will be in a situation where the next stage of the original material is not very good for being adapted. And because of that, it doesn't end up getting a much-needed sequel. Spice and Wolf, Haruhi, Black Lagoon, you know, the list goes on.
Okay.
So, my thing is that I want those shows to just get their extra season and just resolve everything and end it. And just, there you go. You know,
cool.
That's my unpopular anime opinion.
Oh, this second question is perfect for the podcast subject here. Fuya Hanabi asks, if in the future you guys have kids, what anime shows will be the top choice for you to introduce your kids to watch and why? Well,
okay,
obviously,
My Hero Academia.
Yes, but I'm also gonna say I know Avatar: The Last Airbender might not technically be an anime, but that's like, the first one.
Yeah, that is the first one.
It is literally a kids show that like every child should see before they become an adult. Like have them watch it. I do think My Hero Academia is a good one. I think though that I would actually rather have them watch A Place for the Universe than even My Hero Academia.
Oh, wow.
I think My Hero Academia is a show that is a good anime, but it is ultimately limited in what...
Like, A Place Further in the Universe will teach them, like, life lessons.
Like, A Place Further in the Universe could change one of my kids' lives for the better.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely one of the ones I would have on there. I would also want to show them, like, Gurren Lagann.
When they're a little bit older.
Yeah, a little bit older. Yoko might be a bit much. You know.
I mean, maybe they'd be so innocent at like 8 or 9. They'd be like, huh? You know.
Yeah. And then I mean, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I would love to watch with my teenage kids.
That's one where it's like when they're a little bit older, because episode 4, you know.
Well, right, but I think like a 14-year-old, 13-year-old could totally handle it, and it's not even that they could handle it; it's that they would actually get good. We'd get good discussion out of it, and it'd be pretty cool.
Oh, Sweetness and Lightning.
Raina Dupree asks, congrats on 50K. Thank you. Nice haircut, Caleb. Oh, thanks. I'll ask some Haikyuu character-themed questions. Okay. First up, Hinata. Where is your bathroom? AKA the place where you run into people you don't want to see the most. This is a tough one. I don't know. I guess it would be like if I went to a specific bar or something and I'd be like bumping into like, I don't know, old crushes on a date with like someone they're with. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think of like a place I would meet maybe like an ex or... I don't know. I don't really have a place like that.
Outside my room. Not really. That was just something I thought of, and I was like, that's
great. Next question's from Tanya, the future writer. Hello, Caleb and Jacob. Before I get to the question, all I would like to say is thank you so much, because I haven't had the easiest life. There were times when I gave up, but watching your videos gave me hope. So thank you so much for that. So here's a virtual hug from the other side of the screen. Oh, yes. And here's the question. How would you write a villain who is diabolically evil and scary, but not make him cartoonishly evil? Could you give some examples? Yes. Cartoonish villains are loud. quiet villainy. Ooh, Tywin Lannister. Look at Tywin Lannister. He is a perfect example of a diabolically evil, but like scary in that he's a human and you know what kind of things he's capable of.
He is a person that would probably exist in that world. Right? It's not something where a villain was crafted like a villain. It's that he is a morally bankrupt guy that
has a lot of power and is a father family man.
Right.
In the twisted sense.
If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, just watch like the Arya Tywin conversations for some great examples of how you can provide the contradiction to that.
Yeah, I guess that's a good scene though to watch though in context of the show.
That's a good point.
Seeing those two characters together is like
it actually means something at that point.
Right.
That Tywin I would say is like a perfect example. The things that I would say that usually differentiate between the ones that are cartoonishly evil and the ones that you can take seriously is that you can take them seriously. And a lot of times with the cartoonish ones, they will either be intentionally made so that you can't take them seriously because they're actually trying to be cartoonish, or they try so hard to be taken seriously. That's usually with the loudness.
The question though is how. So let's try to talk about an application of how you could see that.
I guess it's the whole make them more subdued and make it not be a one-track pony. Give them other aspects, like with Tywin. You know, he's this crazy guy, but he's also a family man.
Another thing that I'll take from Matt Mercer is that when you're making a villain in, say, a D&D campaign, you don't want to create a villain that's only goal or only thing on their mind is going after the player characters.
They need to have some goal of their own.
They have to have a goal of their own that separates them, that takes them away from the story.
Right.
Because when the main character, the protagonist or whatever, is like not interacting with the villain, you should be thinking as the viewer, that's because the villain is busy doing things that they want.
One of the most common things that cartoonishly evil villains will do is they'll constantly be thinking about the hero.
How can I stop
those darn kids?
Yes.
Right. And it's like, okay, haha, very funny. You know, why would the level 20 Dark Lord be worried about the level 1 adventurer person, you know, whatever.
Right. That's something I think that more recently with Disney and Pixar is they've been nailing in there some of their animated stuff, some of the antagonists, because they have their own goals that make them kind of the fallen hero of their own story.
Right.
And that's something that almost never takes them into direct conflict with the protagonist. The protagonist usually just kind of stumbles into their thing and then just ends up having to save things. But yeah, good question.
I'm gaming. If you had a stand, what would its Hatsu be, and would it be strong enough to defeat all the Titans and become the #1 hero so it can finally become the Hokage by defeating Dio?
Okay, you can't repeat references to the same universe and the same thing. You had to keep it going there. You started with stands and you ended with Dio. I'm disappointed in you, I'm gaming. But seriously, the thing that would be a stand with an unbeatable Hatsu... Like the thing is that if the stand is a projection of your spirit, you don't really have the ability to make a powerful Hatsu because the stand's spirit can't make those crazy
unless
conditions.
It's something that's connected to you. Because
the stand by its nature is connected to you because if it takes damage, you take damage. But I feel like you can kind of cheese out some extra conditions / vows.
Well, the thing that I don't know if this would fit in the Hunter x Hunter universe as a Hatsu.
Sure.
But the thing that me and Caleb have basically determined that is pretty much always OP is any kind of time manipulation.
Reality manipulation.
Yeah, reality manipulation.
Time is actually a subset of reality.
Yeah, if you can get reality manipulation, then you auto win. And why Thanos didn't have an easier job. the Infinity Gauntlet is beyond me.
Whatever.
But that would probably be the best way to do it.
Right. If you have any ability to
travel through time, stop time,
to do anything that directly influences reality for everyone.
Right. Because then it's basically an auto hit. It's an unescapable attack.
Yeah, basically. Robert E.O. Speedwagon asks, what's your favorite romance anime? Well,
Toradora.
Yeah, I gotta say Toradora. I haven't seen many, though. So I know that's kind of a simple answer, but
Toradora is
really good.
It's really good.
I know some people say it's overrated.
You gotta watch it.
But I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Lex the Graceful Rival asks, do you think that MHA's tropey nature is limiting how good it can be? Whenever I hear other people talk about their favorite shows, their unique aspects are usually brought up, and the shows brought up usually have a very unique aspect. Okay, so MHA, we've talked about this over and over again. The reason why it's so good is because it takes the tropes that you are already getting in every other show, which, by the way, tropes does not equal bad. Tropes are in every single story. There's no such thing as an untropey show. Anytime people say, oh, that show's so tropey, what they're really saying is they've seen those tropes over and over again, which actually says more about their viewing habits really than the show itself.
And even then, what they're really saying is not that they've seen them before, it's that they've seen them before and this story executed on them poorly.
Yes, yes.
Like, that's basically what it means. You need to understand why the tropes are there so that when you put them in, it feels like it fits.
Yep.
The thing that is unique about MHA is that it keeps everything so simple to its central themes and everything. And yes, there are other stories that have done that, but they are few and very far between.
Right. And specifically in the battle shonen category, they're very, very few and far between.
And I mean, we haven't seen a ton of battle shonen.
No, but like I think we are seeing like most, if not all, of the good ones right now.
Yeah.
Or like have seen them. And MHA has something special, guys.
Yeah.
The fact that it constantly brings everything back to the core vision of the show and doesn't lose its identity, basically, is fantastic.
Like, I've seen people complain that Deku cries too much, and I would say that that is one of the biggest reasons why MHA is as good as it is.
Yeah, it's just I will totally defend MHA's tropiness.
To our dying breath.
Yes. Little Duck asks, do you guys ever get ideas for moments or scenes of a story you have yet to flesh out? Absolutely. Any advice on how to fit them together? Well, you have to write them down.
Well, yes, you absolutely have to
do that. You first have to have them in pieces, essentially. Like, you have one here, you have one here, you have one here. They can't all be in here when you try to fit them together.
Hey, you can just start with writing the one scene. Like, there was a point where I was actually walking to a D&D game that I was supposed to be DMing. And I got a little sidetracked because I got to thinking up here. And I basically was thinking about this, like, Mandalorian, like, final battle thing, and it was awesome. And I planned the whole thing out, and I ended up walking, like, 2 miles too far because I got so invested in it, and I was like, that was amazing, and I didn't have a story at all to, like, surround it.
Yeah.
But I knew that scene. And if you get a scene like that, that can become the anchor for your story because then you know the kinds of things you want to express and the story you want to tell.
Right. You just kind of focus on the scene and let it infect your mind and just see what else kind of bursts forth.
If you look at like the ending long enough, you'll kind of know what characters need to exist in order to have that ending happen.
Sure. CRM GSEC asks, assuming you were thrown off a certain cliff, like any normal student, who would you like to make eye contact with first?
Obviously. Wait, of the people that were actually thrown off the cliff? Or of all the characters in the show?
I think it's just whoever.
Well, I mean...
Come on. Say it.
Either Neo or Coco.
I thought you were gonna say Coco, but like, I think if I had to choose, I would want to be like really meta and like make eye contact with Glinda or Ozpin and be like, I got you.
Yeah.
Like I would try so hard to like not like keep my eyes shut as I get launched off. And
but
then
see,
I'm like,
wouldn't that kind of be a problem because like Glinda would just start becoming more absent as time went on?
Anyway, next question is from Antonio Roja Cortez. What's the difference between a character that survives because they are part of the plot, aka having plot armor, and a character that remains a part of the plot because they've continued to survive? I think you answered your question. One has plot armor and the other one doesn't.
Right, but it's how do you showcase that?
Well, right. The main difference is that you have characters like, I would say Guts. Sure, that's a great example. I would say he's got a little bit of plot armor.
He also has literal armor.
Yeah. But I would say if you actually go into Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, there are a couple protagonists that come really close to dying, and they don't because of basically the characters being given this drive, this willpower thing, in some instances that basically keeps them in. And it's a way to cheese out, in my opinion, it's a good way to cheese out the character breaking through that environmental difficulty. So I think of Ling from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. There's a point where he should have died.
Right.
But he didn't, and he has one of the best character moments throughout the story. So you basically key in that point where they should have died. Because if you have a story where characters can die, you should make every character at some point go through that threatened state where they're like, oh, that character could have died.
And make sure that the resolution to that state and the escape
tied to their character's growth and development.
Well, yeah, it's tied to their character's growth and development, but also feels properly satisfying.
Yes.
So that it's not just like, oh, and they randomly survive, right? That's where the problems start to come in, right?
Right.
It's because the plot armor is not that they've been in a bunch of situations where they almost died. It's they've been in a bunch of situations where they should have died and they didn't.
Yes.
And yeah, so do that, and then make there be consequences from all those like near misses, because that's basically building up the idea that, oh yeah, they haven't died yet. Yeah, but this is going to catch up with them eventually. They can't do this forever.
Yeah, that was I would say Mustang, really. Mustang kept also having a lot of moments where he have brushes with death, and he had consequences.
I'm more thinking like, let's say you're in a medieval setting. And you have someone who's gotten, like, wounded in a bunch of battles and stuff like that.
The Hound.
Yeah, like the Hound.
Yeah.
There isn't exactly great medicine in medieval settings.
True.
You aren't going to recover from your wounds super quickly.
No.
You will probably carry the scars from them and stuff potentially forever.
Yeah.
Like, depending on how bad the wound is. So you could make that an ongoing thing of, there's this person and now they're just getting... They've been beaten, and now they're just this like scarred, mottled mess of, and someone's just like can look at them and say, "Oh, they've seen some stuff."
Right.
But it's catching up to them, and now they're a bit slower. They're they can't move quite as fast as they used to. And
yeah, the whole plot armor thing and how to avoid it, I think, is a lot trickier than it seems. So it's really having, I would say, the majority of your story. Kind of just put through a lens of kind of your own mind trying to be like a systems analysis, like breaking, like, wrecking ball, and just trying to see if there can be an excuse for plot armor given to that character that keeps on surviving. And if not, then maybe you did a good job. So it's a tough one, though. Good question, though. Sen Ogino asks, so now that A Place for the Universe has, sadly, ended, I wanted to ask, in what ways has it inspired you? Does it make you want to go somewhere far, far away, and where would it be? Okay, so it is totally inspired. That's great timing for this question. Yeah. It doesn't really make me want to go somewhere far, far away. I don't know if it does you, but I think it inspires me specifically on the lens of going after your dream and getting other people to partner up with you in that. Right. The idea of going after your dream alone, a la Shirase, is not a good one.
Yeah, we can like, make it all poetic about, oh, I'm, going to be the lone hero going down the road and stuff. But
stubbornly trudge on through this, but
don't solo a boss.
Yeah.
Especially if it's your first boss.
Yeah.
Just don't do that.
If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, if you want to go further than the universe, go together.
Yeah. Plus Ultra. Yeah.
Plus Ultra.
Has
it made you want to go somewhere far, far away? And where would that be?
Yes, but in the sense of my drill piercing the heavens and breaking through and stuff. Because again, that whole aspect of the show being realistic, that was one of the really cool things that it did. It basically does inspire you to do those things that you want to do, because they even if it would have been unlikely, a bunch of girls probably could go to Antarctica, could have gone to Antarctica. Yeah. So I can do what I did too. I can do what I want to do too.
Yeah. Next question's from CRMG Sec. Another question. Awesome. What are your thoughts on and/or predictions for the upcoming book focusing on the adventures of Team Coffee? It's called Ruby After the Fall. I know Jacob really likes Coco.
I do.
Well, I think it's going to be basically our insight into Team Coffee dealing with the psychological trauma of having their home essentially destroyed and being alone.
Yep.
Because I think as a team, it'll bring them closer together, but it'll also kind of have them like questioning things of like, are we really being of use here? Is what we're doing like actually good? Like, and then also them finding a lot of fulfillment in just doing their jobs, but also like getting to lean on each other even more so than they have in the past. So
here's what I want to see.
Ooh, specifics.
So this is a specific ending.
Okay.
I want there to be something, because okay, Team Coffee, they're built up as the badass team in Team Ruby. All of them are badass, but Team Coffee especially, right? So I want to see something where for some reason it's like a lone survivor type thing. Right? And, they don't necessarily die, but it's them backed up against the wall, whether metaphorical or literal.
Right.
And hordes of Grimm are upon them, and it's just, we have to somehow make it through this. It's the, we are in the fight of our lives, and we don't know if we'll get through, but maybe.
Yeah.
And then they can have the suitably badass posing and emerging victorious at the end.
Awesome. Final questions from Wile E. Coyote. How do you guys avoid spoilers? Wow, that's the age-old question. We exit into a temporary world line that doesn't exist, where spoilers have been like tactically nuked from orbit by El Psychonger, the organization, and all that. No.
Turns out Haruhi does exist, and we just asked her a favor.
The real answer is we have a lot of awesome people that protect us from spoilers. We primarily interact online with the anime community on Discord. That's it. We don't go wandering on social media platforms. We don't go Googling like literally anything anime related. We go to my anime list and like
check
just
like
kind
the
of
score,
check the number, and then we're gone. Like, one of the things I feel like we can kind of put off the wrong vibe of is that like everything is a spoiler, and I think we were like that somewhat before the channel, but the channel has kind of heightened that because a lot of these shows are like your guys' babies.
Right.
And we know you guys want us to have the
best experience
proper best experience. So there's a blend of where you'd like, okay, go in blind. Like, please, no one tell them about Madoka Magica. Like, please, no one. We've seen Madoka Magica, but that'd be an example. Like, please, no one tell them.
Right.
And then we go in and it's like, oh, that was such a good show.
Right.
But like someone could come in and be like, they need to know this in order to have the proper experience.
It's the idea
we don't
need any convincing.
Yep.
When we end up going to watch a show, we want it to be just the same as it was for you guys when you watched it for the first time.
And even more so in the instances where some of you need to go and research a show before you're watching and stuff. The thing is, though, is that was me. Before this channel, I needed to go research a show before I would actually watch it. And the thing was, that's kind of spoiling myself on things. But now there are people who essentially do that research for us, and they put us into the path of shows like A Place for the Universe. And then they get voted for on the poll.
It takes a village.
It's a group effort. But hey, great question. And guys, if you want to ask us questions for our future podcast, leave them in the comments down below. We'll get to them, and you'll see them in next ones. But yeah, we'll see you all in the next podcast. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.